Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And as you've probably told from the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about Michael Matheson. Now, Michael resigned as a minister because, breaking the rules, saw the report. Still not been published, I don't know why they're so shady about this report. There must be something in there that's absolutely awful. And we will address that. But since resigning as a minister, he hasn't actually been seen in Holyrood. He's off sick. And we have to ask how sick he is. Well, I think until we sort of inspect his iPad and see the images and videos he was watching, we won't have any idea about how sick he truly is. But I imagine it's pretty bad, which is why, of course, he doesn't want anyone looking at the iPad. This is why he was so quick to cough up £11,000. Otherwise, it'd be like, well, let's just check that what you're saying is right. No, I paid you £11,000, he said in panic. Hoping to God nobody ever looked at what was on his iPad. The claim, of course, that his children were watching football is, I'm afraid, entirely unbelievable. He certainly shouldn't have had his kids on there at all, given the security concerns. And I think we all can agree that it was much more likely that he was sitting in the hotel room alone, little grey pants round his ankles, enjoying some Michael time with his iPad in his left hand. But it's the images that were on that iPad that are truly of concern and may truly explain why he is no longer turning up. That report needs to be published, I feel. Well, let's have a look at this to see what is going on. Here goes. So, Michael Matheson off sick as former health secretary stays away from Holyrood after resigning. Well, it all depends on how sick you think he is. I think he's pretty sick, but that iPad does need a full inspection, and I think he knows. I think he knows what people think, and that is why he's not there. He's ashamed. That's what it is. He's not physically ill, of course. He's just ashamed. He's mentally traumatised by what's happening. The SNP veteran has not been seen at the Scottish Parliament in 6 weeks after being forced to resign following a row over his expenses. What this means is, of course, it's basically easier to get things past the SNP now. Their majority is slowly reducing. Losing things here, there, everywhere, people changing, people going. Now, they've still got the majority, of course, but it ain't much. It ain't much now. 2 or 3 could do it. It's very close. Michael Matheson has gone on sick leave following his dramatic resignation as Health Secretary last month after trying to claim an £11,000 data roaming bill on expenses. We call that thievery. The MSP has not been seen at Holyrood in 6 weeks, with the SNP whips reportedly asking opposition parties not to take advantage of his absence during key votes. That's how desperate they are. And yet, of course, they're entitled entirely to take advantage. If you've got a representative that cannot be bothered to turn up and represent the people, then nobody else owes you anything. Now, if you want to say, OK, Michael, please resign, we'll have an election and we'll try and win the seat, it's entirely allowable. I'm sure people would enjoy having that. But for him to not turn up at all, why on earth should the opposition say, OK, we won't vote on it? Screw that. Matheson was forced out of government after he initially claimed the eye-watering data bill was racked up by doing parliamentary business on his official iPad. Lie number 1. This was while on a family holiday in Morocco in December 2022. He later admitted the data roaming charges were caused by his teenage sons streaming football on his device. Probably lie number 2. Matheson then repaid the £11,000 bill. However, he then lied to the corporate body and to the press. Lies 3 and lies number 4. Or possibly lies 2 and 3. All depends, doesn't it? But until we inspect that iPad, we'll never know. But at the very least, 3 lies, plus the fraudulent attempt to steal £11,000 from the public purse. A report published by the Scottish Parliament corporate body last week found Falkirk West MSP had broken rules over the affair. That report is still not published. And it needs to. And the reason it isn't published can only be one thing. There can only be one reason why that hasn't been published. And that is the stuff inside that report that is so appallingly bad that it would not only destroy Matheson, but could bring down this SNP government. What was on the iPad? I have a feeling that what's on there is really bad, and that is why it's covered up. That's why it's hidden. That's why, if it is released, I bet it will be heavily redacted, because they cannot have the truth coming out. Matheson has been absent from Parliament as he was unwell and unable to work. Yeah, he's sick. It comes as the Parliament Standards Committee begins its deliberation onto a report into Matheson's conduct. It will meet today to consider its approach to a report from the Scottish Parliamentary Corporate Body. Humza Yousaf last week suggested Matheson will not resign as an MSP. Now, Humza Yousaf backed him when he was a minister. He's a man of integrity. He's a man who's honest. Now, turns out he's a liar and a thief. But Yousaf said, no, it doesn't matter that he's lied and thieved. He's still a man of integrity. Goes to show exactly what Humza Yousaf thinks integrity is. But he's saying now he does not have to resign as an MSP. Well, it all depends on what's in that report. And I think there will be people saying, no, he really, really must resign as an MSP. He's not wanted. He's certainly out the next election. He's done. That's it. It's finished. He is finished. His career is over. He's in the last few days of his career, one way or another. Either the last few days or the last 2 years. Is he going to hang on and, basically parasitise the Scottish taxpayer for 2 years without doing a single day's work? Seems likely, doesn't it? Anyway, Humza Yousaf said he's not resigned as an MSP. As I say, he described his former cabinet colleague as a decent person who made a mistake. And as we know, the jails are filled with decent people who've made mistakes. Doesn't mean they shouldn't be in jail. Asked if he still thought the same in the wake of the report's findings, the SNP leader told the BBC Michael made a mistake. There's no ifs, no buts, no maybes about that. But decent people can make mistakes. Michael has made a mistake and paid the price for that. No, he hasn't paid the price for that. He's still sitting there, not working and getting a full salary, while not representing the people of his constituency, not joining in any democratic process, and he's instead hiding, ashamed, at home, keeping a low profile because he knows what he's done. He'll now be referred to the Parliamentary Standards Committee, who'll make a judgment in that, and hopefully they'll say that he is an awful human being and that they'll suspend him, and then suspend him without pay as well, I hope, for the remainder of his career. Asked if his job as an MSP was under threat, Humza Yousaf said, no, again, I don't think that's the case. Yeah, I think you need to get your finger on the pulse of what people think. They don't want liars and thieves being representatives. Now, it may be for Humza Yousaf that being a liar and a thief is acceptable, but then, different kind of thing. That's not the Scottish way, though, is it? So it goes to show something. Anyway, he said, I've not heard Michael suggest anything other than he'll accept what the consequences are. Well, the consequences are that liars and thieves need to resign and not be representatives of the people. And that is why this man needs to go. But all this faux, I'm going to cry as I'm resigning, doesn't cut no mustard with me, baby. Don't care about your tears. Don't care about how you feel. Don't care about, what your view on it is and who's helping you. What I care about is you're a liar and you're a thief and you need to quit. Stop being an MSP, go out in the real world and get a job if you can find someone who wants to hire you. Shouldn't think so for 1 minute. I'm coming up. Once again, we have these people, these crooks. They sit there and they're a little cabal of crooks. One of them breaks the rules, one of them lies and thieves, and the others all gather around him, circle the wagons and say, oh no, he's a decent man. Yes, he lies and he steals, but we like him because he's just one of us. We don't think he should lose his job. He needs to sit there, not actually do any work, but just be like a parasite for the next 2 years, taking a very good wage and doing sod all for the people of Scotland. Suck, suck, suck. These people are like vampires. And Humza Yousaf is the chief vampire. He's the Nosferatu of this particular coven of blood-sucking parasites and leeches. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.